to the continuation of last week's topic because listen, Buba just gave us a quite an intro where all of us are looking like, no, she did not.
Not in Africa. No way in Africa. No.
Even the scariest person in the class would not even the most bravest person in the class would not even try to do that at all.
You never talk like a teacher. What?
Yo, that is a death wish right there.
In front of the whole school.
Like the whole teacher association in this school is probably gonna whoop your ass for doing that.
Right?
Yes, and that's growing up African. It's a communal upbringing where it's like the whole society is taking care of one kid. So you can't mess up. And when you mess up, anyone's father, grandmother, sister, uncle, auntie can just
someone walking outside
discipline you. And then you get disciplined for disgracing the family by being disciplined outside.
It's incredible. It's
and don't let them call your uncles or aunties.
It's a ripple effect. Oh my goodness.
So it's just crazy. And I think all of us went to boarding schools. And
Kwame is real bougie. He went to like only maybe 2 or 3 years of boarding school. So
I went to 3 years of boarding school.
How many years of boarding school did you have?
3 years. And it was, I mean, during my formative years, teenage years, I think from 13 to 16 or 17. And it was an interesting experience because that was my first time having to fend for myself.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah, and it really taught me a lot. I went to the senior high of the school, Martin and Majida went to, and it was interesting. I mean, hearing their stories, it's like, okay, that's like night and day actually, because that's not a similar experience I went through in the senior high of that same school. What
was the most like I wouldn't say traumatic, but like the thing that hit you and you're like, okay, I'm not at home anymore?
So I think this is during my time. I don't think it's there anymore. But during my time, there's a major construction going on. They were building the Achimota interchange, so there was never water on campus.
Yeah, I interject real quick, Kwame. That was not good. We were doing that way before you came to the school.
That was 9 years.
Listen, we used to carry, okay? We used to carry back the water on our head.
That was my first time. And then there was just one time, there was this particular tap that would go to fetch water. And that dawn, we used to wake up like 4:30 or 5 a.m. to go get the water. And that tap wasn't flowing. And then
the one by the pool side? Or the one
I don't even remember. It's just a tap that flows.
You don't remember?
Just 3 years. We still remember that. Okay, anyway, it's even longer than him, so we can
exactly. So one of my mates, because we had to get the water because that's the same water we used to scrub the bathrooms and do our chores in the house and used to bath. And then he was like, you know what? We can't go back and then not have water. Else the seniors are going to get us. Like, they'll punish us and we can't go to class and all of that. So he was like, okay, there's a golf course close to the school. And you know how golf courses have like these little ponds that like make up. So he suggested to the whole first year class that, hey, guys, let's go fetch water from these ponds, which are tadpole filled, by the way, and then use that water. We were like, okay, as stupid as we were like, cool. So we went, fetched that water, tadpole filled. We got to the house, and I was like, yo, why am I doing this? But I was still doing it. So we got a sieved out the tadpoles out of the water, and then we got disinfectant Dettol, and then poured it in, and then used that. Dettol is life.
Survival of the fittest. This is survival mode, right there.
It is.
And I was so traumatized. Like, and this was my first year. I was like, goodness,
your first
I could have been in a shower. Taking a proper shower.
At the age of 13 or 14, we were doing it when we were like 6 and 7. Kwame.
No, you guys had a different traumatic experience. Mine was like
incredible, man.
My traumatic experience was literally on my first day, and I noticed that my boarding school had bath stalls that didn't have doors.
Same as us.
Exactly. So I remember going to take a shower, and I did not know this. Like I had been groomed on all the other things that would happen, but they left out that one part. So I go to take a shower with my stuff, and like I go during like the rush hour of showering, and I find like a lot of people, waiting to take a bath, and I'm like, I get to the shower, and I'm like, wait, we shower from here? Literally, there are different stalls, and there's no door, and then the person who's going to shower after you is standing right in front of you.
Yeah.
I got my towel and I was trying to make like a little curtain, but it was so short.
What are you talking about? Making a stall? We are bathing together. There's nothing like covering. No.
I was so traumatized. After that,
days,
I'm not a morning person, but I used to wake up at like 5 a.m. to take a shower because I was like, I need privacy. It's one thing but that's only for like the first freshman students. Yeah. So it was the one thing that I just never got used to. And I was like, I will wake up at 5 a.m. to take this shower, but I'm not going to have people watch me take a shower. Like, oh my goodness.
Good for you.
I mean,
it gets to a point.
It does.
We all just...
For ours, this, like we said, we went to like what people would consider like a bougie school at that time, okay? And we had like caretakers, right? So if you are like a caretaker's pet, which I was actually one of them anyway, they literally take care of you like you're at home.
Till date.
I told you I'm spoiled. So literally, like, we used to wake up like 4:30 in the morning, like to take a shower. Like you have like chores to do, like sweep around, do certain things. Most of the time, I didn't do none of that stuff. They'll probably let me sleep to like close to the time for us to like wake up and go to like assembly and all those things. But at the same time, I was smart enough to kind of like learn and get all that experience, because I feel like if they literally just left me alone like that, I would have been worse. But it was the survival of the fittest. You had to survive, I remember sometimes like my first time actually carrying a bucket of water on my head, right? It was like a mile walk. By the time I got back to my dorm, the bucket was empty. It was no water. Guess what?
You spilled it. Yeah.
Literally.
All over the place.
Literally. But the second time, you got me messed up. No. I said, listen. And so today I do it, and people look at me like, because when I buy water, like from the grocery store, put it in my car, once I get to my parking spot, I have to take it out and take it to my apartment, right? So I'm like, I'm not holding this. Put on my head and hold my bags, and people look at me like, I'm like, you don't know.
Yeah. But growing up in an African, it does teach you discipline. It really does teach you how to survive in any kind of environment, whether it's a good environment, it's a bad environment.
That's true.
You are going to learn how to survive. And it's one of the takeaways growing up. I really appreciated being home, going to a private school till junior high, and then entering a government school.
Folks, the rich kids,
Exactly. Now that you say that, I've noticed that thing about myself. I grew up preferably well, but still, you will throw me anywhere and I'll survive.
Exactly. I know what to prepare when I'm broke, and I know what to prepare when I have extra coins, and I'll still survive. To
segue into that,
like a few people, like a few Italians, tell me the same thing. They go like, so let's say for instance, I go buy groceries, and there was one time one of my friends came around, and this guy, we bought the stuff, he packed just in front of my house, we packed everything in, and he wanted to do it bit by bit. I didn't have time for that.
Nah, bro. We're not doing
it. I went up like three staircases, and he was like, how did you do that? And I was like, you're wasting my time. I'm trying to get something. I didn't even know when I did it. Okay. I didn't even know when I did it. I just carried the things and I was up. Before he said Jack, everything was done. So I left just one, the 6-pack of water. I left it downstairs, and that was the only thing he carried, because he had to go and pack the car. So he was thinking maybe by the time he comes back, I'll be still taking things.
Yeah.
I just took it and I went up. So he looked at me. He just said to me, I don't know. I don't want to offend you, but I think that you can survive. If, let's say, I was in your shoes and then I came from Africa or I came from anywhere, I don't think I'll be able to do what you do, because you are all by yourself. You do things, you don't wait for anybody, and that's
exactly.
Yeah. And I was like, I didn't say anything. I was just quiet looking at him. He said everything, and then he wasn't the only person who said that to me. I think a few people also said the same thing to me. They say that's the reason why they don't even want to move away from Italy. They are still here. They can't move. Not even go down south. They don't go. They are with their parents.
She's down south.
You're not going anywhere. No. And but that's the thing with Italy here. I think that the South and the North are like two different worlds. They don't really mix like that. The North is the bougie area. The South is more just like, anything happens. But they are also closer to Africa. So they are more considerate. Like, you can really gel with them. But the North, they are more or less like the racist, if I should say, because they don't really, nah, not really.
Speaking about that, let's segue that into education. How is education important in your household?
Can you say
everything?
Like, how is, segue into like education. How is it important in your household?
Education?
Yeah.
Pretty much, it was everything. It was more.
Is there an African household where education wasn't important?
Yes.
Yeah, you aren't in an African household. If education is very important,
as long as your parents had half the points to educate you, you're getting into school.
I know.
It had to be. I think that inherently, our parents knew that we had very few chances of actually being accepted, or I don't know how to put this, like in a better way. So the only chance that we got, or the only fair shot we got at this, was education. So they just put whatever they had, they just had to make sure they invested in your education as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have it, one thing is you being Black, already nobody even wants to be with you. You get what I mean? Even if you get the PhDs and the doctorates and stuff like that, they are still wondering, like, okay, really, did you get that or did you do that?
No, I bought it online.
So imagine that you didn't even have the education. So I think that they knew somehow, subconsciously, they realized that it was going to be a battle, and then their sure way of securing some sort of future for us was through education.
Yeah,
and
because
all wrong.
I do think that in Africa, an education, is kind of like your easiest ticket to success.
Yeah.
While, and making money. Well, if you're more of an artsy person, you're going to have to go through the grind to be able to make it. So that's why they insisted on giving us an education.
Yeah.
While you find here in the Western world, an arts, being a creative is a very easy ticket to making a lot of money, because you have creatives who are doing YouTube and making a doctor's income in 3 months.
Hello?
That's true.
And it's like, I'm going to say,
it's just a society. Where we come from, like, all the experiences that we had, where we found ourselves is what's happening. Like you just said, Kuba. I think that in Africa, the arts it's not. I did arts, so I know exactly how it was.
I did visual arts in high school.
Yeah, so basically, if you're going to do visual arts, it was like you were not smart enough, or you were like
dumb.
Like you just dumb people.
Like you weren't worth shit, pretty much.
You weren't, exactly. So someone like me, I really scored high grades, and I took it to secondary school to do visual arts because I wanted to be an architect. That was the dream. And when I went there, I was called to the headmaster's office about 3 times to change my course to science. Am I sure I want to do this? Because the grade I came with, I should be doing science or something. I'm like, no, I want to do visual. So it was something. It was a thing that, like, we don't see the arts as anything serious. Okay, so it's quite difficult over here. They make provision for every skill.
Yes.
Possible.
Yeah.
They catered for that. We did
everything that everyone can make it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Lawyers, doctors. If you're not an engineer, a doctor, lawyer, what else? There was other things there were certain things that were just there.
You have to be a nurse or something. Like, if not, you're not doing. Yeah, you're not putting the family name in a good perspective. Blah blah blah. Like, really though.
There was a lot of pressure on us. Really, a lot of pressure on us to make it, or to succeed in life. These things, like Kay said, they taught us a lot of things, a lot of good things. I don't want to say growing up an African was all the way bad. The only thing I didn't like was the whooping and then, putting me in a box, like trying to give me something. Those restrictions were things I didn't like. Also, what is this thing that keeps dropping? Okay. So please cut that part out, okay?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, what's your question?
These days of college education. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. We actually benefited a lot from all these trainings that we got. like from society, from family and all that. I would like to take out all the positives that I got from it.
Absolutely,
the negatives, I don't. So hopefully when I have my family or when I have to impart knowledge onto others, I would try to eliminate as much as possible the things that I didn't want to be done to me. That's it.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, I don't want to, say that it was really too bad. No. I loved every experience that I had with my parents, with my students, my friends and everything. I mean, they made me who I am today, So I'm really grateful for that. The society itself, but the capping is something I just didn't like.
Okay. So my question is on the topic of education. One thing I've noticed these days is you don't need a university degree to make it in life. If you, having been raised as an African and being told that university is the only route, if your child told you, I don't want to go to college, would you be okay with that? Would you entertain it?
It depends. Because for me, in a way, I agree to an extent with that, because there are technical institutions that the child could, it depends on the path. So you get to, high school, I ask you, okay, what do you see yourself doing in the future? Okay, I want to study carpentry. Then the university is not the place for you. You need to go to a technical school to better yourself in carpentry and be the best carpenter you can be,
Before you even do that for that person or whoever, like your child is going to tell you, okay, thing is, you are also observing him. When he's doing, what are the things that he does? So he can come and tell you that he wants to be a carpenter. Then you ask him, have you actually assembled anything before? Like,
well, there's that.
All those things are things that you also look out for. So it's not like maybe he just says, I want to be this, and you're like, okay, what technical?
This is going to do it,
But okay, you know what you're saying is, what you're saying is literally carpentry is an education. What if your child told you, I want to do YouTube videos? I don't need to go to school for that. What are you going to say?
You want to do YouTube videos, I'll tell you need a basic foundation. Basically, you need to know, you need to have a basic foundation. Yes, you need to have a basic foundation and knowledge of the world around you. I think that is very important. And for me, that depends on, where you have your education. So if you happen to go to a very good school, secondary school or high school that has like a very good foundation, basic foundation of your surroundings, and I noticed, okay, this kid is grasping the world around him, and then after that he wants to do something technical. If you want to do YouTube, well, from secondary school, go to film school.
So
go be the best
education, because that's
it has to be an education. It doesn't, for me.
I mean, it's very
important. Basic.
That one, I agree with him 100%. I think it's basic,
Yeah.
I mean, if let's say you get to high school, or even let's say junior high, because high school is more or less like technical school, right? I mean, equivalent to the Ghanaian system.
Yeah.
So when you are in your junior high, I mean, it's about your interest, but it's about what you do and what I also observe about you. Okay, so
absolutely
you're telling
true.
me something, and then I'm also seeing something different. But we all, whether you agree or not, but I think that basic education is something that you need to go through.
Yeah.
After that, you can do whatever. If you want to go to space, I don't care.
What if they say, I want to work at a Forever 21 while I figure out what I want to do? And when they tell you, okay, I'm going to YouTube videos without any type of education. So after high school, they get a Forever 21 job and then they get into YouTube.
On Blackish, I watched an episode like
I was going to... okay, go ahead. Junior,
Junior went through the same phase, okay? He was good. I mean, he did whatever he had to do, but he came and said...
he went to college for like 48 hours.
And want to figure out what he wants to do. Trust me, it's not easy for any parent to just make a decision. Really, it's not. So you need to have, like, let's say, a very assertive decision, or should I say, a very informed decision. And it's very difficult to just say, I'm going to accept my son sitting at home, or maybe being an intern and just figuring out what he wants to do. You don't look at it from the child's perspective alone. You look at it on how it reflects on your parenting. It's like you felt like you have failed as a parent because you didn't let him understand what he needs to do, or like how he needs to do his path. So there's so much pressure on you. It won't be but then
again, painting the situation for you. So you know why I feel that African parents could be able to tell us things like that and we could be able to do them was because they were paying our tuition. But you're in a situation where you're, say, in America, you're not going to pay your child's tuition and they tell you, I don't want to go to college right now. I want to go to work at Forever 21 because I don't want to waste my money paying for something that I don't even know what I want to do.
Yeah.
are you going to tell them you have to go to college and put out student loans?
So in that situation, let me tell you what my parents did for me that I guess was helpful, because I remember out of secondary school, I didn't know exactly the path I wanted to take, because in my mind, I felt like I was good at so many things. Okay. So I was still in that phase of, what am I going to study?
Discovery phase.
Exactly. What am I going to study? What do I want to become? And all of that. Before I go into that, I personally don't feel like the university is an important means to an end. I guess I might be an outlier, because there are so many paths to success, especially in the 21st century. In 2021, there are so many paths to success. But even though I say that, I'm a big believer in have a basic education and a basic understanding of the world today. Because more and more, we are becoming, a globalized space, and you need to understand basic politics, economics, basic societal norms, you understand, and be aware of your own self. Anyway, so this is what my parents did for me. After secondary school, I told them I didn't know what I was going to study. I told them I don't know what to do. I was probably in that space of Blackish, the character. And this is what my mom and my dad said. They were like, yo, okay, we understand you don't know what to do, but for someone like you, we notice you like to read and write. So why don't you go to university and go study liberal arts, like anything, like just go into the liberal arts and just study. At least that will give you a general understanding of the world around you, and not just the studying, because education is not just about books. Education is about interacting with other human beings to get the concept of where they come from, how they relate to things, and how they interact with you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then being in that university environment is going to give you a holistic understanding of the world. So I should go in there and just grasp it. So with that kind of convincing, I was like, you know what, even though I don't know what I'm going to do in the future, let me just go in there and just grasp what they are telling me. If I go in there and it doesn't work for me, it doesn't work for me. And when I went there, I promise you that was the best advice they could give me, because going in there, apart from studying what I had to study, I was an English major and a history minor. At the end of the day, just the opportunities that were presented in the university in the form of extracurricular activities, getting to meet people, interacting with them, understanding their worldview, really opened my mind and my eyes to so many things. And it gave me, or it helped me develop tunnel vision towards what I eventually want to do with my life. And that was very helpful. Were your parents
paying your tuition?
My tuition was catered for by the government, because entered by merit.
So imagine you have your kids
and we
pay their own money, and they tell you, I'm not paying my money. I'm not putting my money to something like this. What solution do you say?
I don't know how. Thing is, I'm not able to actually respond to this accurately, because I don't know the system in the US. I don't know how it really works.
But if you're living in a Western world, you're going to have more assertive children, because the kids that we're going to raise in these Western worlds are going to be more outspoken.
The reason why I'm saying this is that, there's always loopholes in how to actually interact with these kids who think that they're smarter than you.
Absolutely. That's true.
Okay? So because you definitely have them coming at you all the time, and you need to be prepared. Of course, you're going to have assertive kids. They're going to be asking a lot of questions and thinking that they have an opinion. An opinion, exactly.
Yeah.
So thing is, you yourself, you need to be grounded. You need to know exactly what you're going to be up against. Just in case.
Fortify yourself with the Holy Spirit.
For starters, let me tell you. So you see how our parents had the opportunity to raise us without too many opinions of the world. But you have children who are following all these motivators on Instagram who come and tell you college
influencers. Yes.
College did nothing. And these are the people they're following. Because I see people all the time, university did nothing. So you're up against that person, and that person has 100,000 followers and they make $1 million.
I'm very much open to that, okay? Because I'm in the creative. So I'm not the kind of person who just shy away from it. But my thing is, if you're able to convince me, all right? Because at that time, I think that you're still trying to get off your feet. So if let's say you're under my roof, Okay,
that's African in
Africa under my roof.
It's a part of me, and I love it because the thing is that the thing is that if you're under my roof,
you want to eat in this
negotiate. See, let's negotiate. No, we need to talk. I want us to have a dialogue. Okay. I don't want it to be like you feel you know your rights. You can't. No, don't do that thing on me. Thing is, I'm not trying to, shut your dreams or anything like that. But the African in me is going to just show. I'm going to pull that card out and say, hey, but I say
necessary card.
Long as you're under my roof, you know what? We need to negotiate on this. All right?
You go to school.
No, but seriously, on a more serious note, I want to believe that I would actually give my kids a chance, an opportunity to actually speak to me freely. Okay, not to disrespectfully speak to me or like feel that they can just ask certain things. Not really. Yeah. What I mean is, I want to be able to be a part of your journey. Just like how Kay said, if I had, let's say for instance, I have this kind of knowledge about your parents. They actually saw the things that you did. They saw your interests, the kind of things that you like to do. And then they came up with something that you resonated with immediately. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I want to have, I hope, because I don't have any kids now, but I hope that I'll be able to have that kind of relationship with my kids. I'll be able to study you properly. When you come to me with certain things like this, I'm not going to push it out. No, that's not what it is. We need to talk about it and figure out something. Okay, because all this experience or the exposure that I've had wouldn't make me, just pull out my African card like that. No,
you can't.
So I hope. I hope.
When all fails, pull out the African card.
Do you want to stay in this house?
I need to have it.
Do you eat in this house? Do you pay bills in this house? Like, no. Like, listen, it's funny.
I saw a funny clip. That it was a funny thing. I don't know whether you guys have seen it. It's a black mom and this lady came up, and I think that she said to her mom that what's she preparing? And she was like, why do you ask? Are you not going to eat the food? He was like, but why are you always preparing something that's always smelling?
I saw it, like the goat meat and stuff. Yes, I saw that video.
Oh my God.
I don't even know what happened. She totally forgot that. I don't know. She started insulting her as if she didn't give birth to her. Like she just from head to toe.
Oh my God. It's good because I watch these reality shows because I'm an expert on all these stuff. Right? So an example is one of the shows is like Housewives of Dallas, right? So is this Caucasian lady who is called Cameron, right? And there's this other lady who is Asian. She's called Tiffany. So she's a doctor anyway. Cameron, I don't know what she does. I don't know what she does, but Tiffany's a doctor. So Tiffany does like funny videos on TikTok, right? And post about, how we can relate to like, funny things like you've actually seen or grew up with in an African home, right? Mm-hmm. So she did a video where she was studying for her SAT. And then mom comes in, does like the Asian, what's called? Accent, and she was like, you need to study more harder so you can actually make like a better grade, and threw a pair of slippers at her, right? Cameron, who is white, goes, oh, that is not fair because that is racism. Do you know how many things my parents have actually thrown at me and I'm still alive? That's not racism. And you realize, like, I bring this so deep because I know when maybe our parents like throw shoes or whatever it is, it's not to hear this. It's just like, you better watch it, like, kind of like give you like this notion that be prepared because anything can happen, But then again, you realize from like the Caucasian perspective, to them, it's child abuse.
Yeah.
And do this.
I'm sure that we can all agree that whatever we went through, we still, how do I put it? Like, we would still want to grow up in Africa. Because the thing is, I picked certain things up from there, and I'm really appreciative of everything that I got from there, really. Like I said to you, the things that I don't like was the boxing. I don't want that restriction. And my dad knows
comparisons.
Yeah, my dad knows that about me. And my dad, I don't know, I think that he does a good job because having to deal with 4 different people, like 4 different girls, not even men.
Let's say strong girls, okay? Strong girls.
And every single time, I think that when he's speaking to one person, he needs to have a different,
mindset.
I don't know what to say. It's like, I don't know how he does it. How he does it. But I really respect the fact that he gave us that opportunity to be ourselves. My dad is really strict. The fathers he went to, he didn't hit me. All the hitting that I got was from Achimota, right? He would scream at you. That's the thing. And then that was something that I really feared. I didn't like it because his voice like that on me made me cry immediately. So that was his way of disciplining. So That was like the Ralph. Let me put it this way. I didn't want to have it. So every single time when let's say for instance I do something naughty and I was really naughty, my dad would just scream at me, and he didn't really insult us. So till date, when I have to have, let's say, a confrontation with someone, it's difficult for me to actually bring out words. I can't. I don't know it.
Can't say the same for myself.
But some people will address you, okay, from head to toe, and that's it. Yeah. I mean, I'll express myself the way I can, but like, to say things to really hurt your feelings like that is difficult. But I will tell you the truth. Maybe my truth is quite painful, but that's the farthest. Anyway.
This is so interesting because just talking, I'm like, damn, it's so much we can actually talk about, like literally, like from the African perspective, where it's like, just the boarding school alone, like the people we meet in the boarding school, like, is there so much? I'm like, damn, I wish we had all day to talk about this. I think maybe you two or someone need to reach out to me so we can do like a series of African stuff because it's a lot, and I think, most people don't realize we do appreciate it now. Growing up, we were like, I don't do this shit. Like, honestly, I didn't like to be in a boarding house, okay? Yeah. But today, most of the people I actually hang out with, I met through the boarding house. Like, that's how, I met. And like Kwame was saying, when he went to the college, like university back in Ghana, that's how, he started doing things. And actually, that's how I actually met him because they were doing this beauty pageant, and for some reason, I was not even in the same school. It was my best friend and Majida. They actually went to the same university. I was nowhere in that university. I was in a whole different university, but my ass ended up right there. But that's a different story for another day.
Yeah. I mean,
so before we sign off, what are some things you can actually tell our listeners or viewers, right, that will make them understand, like, when they come in touch, like, Africans or people from like a different culture, certain things to do so they do not disrespect them or like offend them? Any last words from all of you?
I would say, let me take this first. I would say be curious, but don't be stupid. Be respectful. Be curious. Exactly. Be curious in a very respectful way. That's it. Yeah. Because as Africans, we are very excited when you ask us honestly about our culture. We would want to share our culture with you.
Absolutely.
Our, cultural norms and everything. We are okay with sharing that. But if you ask us stupid questions, the African in us would also answer stupidly. Yeah. So be wary, but just feel free and be curious with us in a respectful way, and we're all good.
I mean, hey, I like that.
Yeah. What I'd also say is, as we are growing in this global world, I think that, it's not easy to say something like, oh, there's not going to be any stereotypes and stuff like that. But this era should be an eye-opener for us. Like, I don't know how to even put this in a very articulate way. My thing is, try not to be stereotypical because someone is different from you. We are just as human as you are. Being Black is not equal to being stupid. Being Black is not equal to being poor or poverty or whatever. All those bad things is not equal to Black. So just give us that equal opportunity, give us that equal respect, and
wow, Booba.
And I think for me, two things. I think the first one is interacting with a lot of the Black communities out here, people that have, were typically born here and haven't had a chance, I would encourage them to travel, go to Africa instead of Cancun. Next time, try Africa.
Can you say louder, please?
Go to Africa instead of Cancun.
And stop paying $200 thinking you're on a vacation. Pay more.
Okay. The first time I ever saw an African American was in America. I'd never seen one in Africa. And the other thing is, when you visit and you come back, don't say I was in Africa. Say the country that you went to.
That part.
Say the capital. The city.
It's very insulting to say I went to Africa.
Thank you.
Wow. You said it, and I'm Booba. I'm actually happy you said it because a lot of people always ask, "Oh my God, I want to go to Africa with you." I'm like, "You want to go?"
I can understand the ones who haven't gone. I can give them a pass. But the ones who have gone and they come back and they say, I went to Africa, I'm like, you learned nothing. Because the first thing you learn when you go to Africa is that these are very different areas. different languages. People look different. People have different names. So when you come back and you still have the same dialogue that you went with, you've learned nothing.
Yeah, and that's true because honestly, and I feel like people need to, because I tell people we've all been to Cabo or it's cheap to go, but if you really want to go to Africa, the first question I ask
no one ever tells you I went to South America. People will tell you I went to Mexico, I went to Colombia, I went to Brazil. So when you go to Africa, say the country.
Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Zimbabwe, and people are like, I went to South Africa. I'm like, which one? The southern part of Africa or the country itself?
Yeah,
because people don't even know that. I'm like, figure it out. Don't do it because I always ask them, do you really want to go? And my first thing is, are you ready to pay for the ticket? Because them tickets are not cheap.
They are. People pay $1,000 for a table
in the club.
Okay.
You know what?
If you put it that way.
Listen, I feel like we need a whole episode right now.
So I'm sure that you're ready to have that experience. You can pay for it. So if
y'all just give me
an experience unlike any other. Going to a place where your skin color is the majority, I would pay any amount of money for that.
Yeah.
Like I need another episode because this is like, whoa. No, it is. I'm like,
because people in the West world, they don't get that experience ever. That factor of being in a room and 95% of the people look just like you. And I'm like, get to experience that,
And the food and everything. Because I tell them, I'm like, don't go to Africa and stay like, don't go to the continent of Africa and stay like in a bougie-ass hotel. Yeah, I'm in Africa. No, stay in the local ones. Be local.
I was just about saying something here. Sorry to interrupt. But, when we are from Africa and let's say, for instance, we're saying we're going for a holiday, we always have an idea of a holiday. We want a bougie experience. When the Western world wants to have a holiday, they want to have an interaction with nature. So if you are telling them that you want to have something like, not really 5-star, but like a 3-star, 4-star or something like that, they look like, why are you trying to have an experience that expensive? But the thing is, we've been with nature for God knows how long. we want to pamper ourselves, so please allow us, But,
oh, God.
So I had a problem like this with someone, and I told him that your idea of a holiday is different from my idea of a holiday.
That is true.
But I don't think that I don't accept what you want to do. You can do that, but don't try to make me feel bad for wanting to feel good. Because it's an experience. I want to experience it. Because on the other hand, the thing is, I'm from somewhere. I want a different experience from what I know.
What I'm used to. Yes, that is so true.
Let me end with one funny story that someone, this is a question somebody asked me last week. So we're having a conversation and they asked me, do you know how to swim? And I said, yes, I know how to swim. Wait for it. They were like, where did you learn how to swim? And I was like, when I was a child, they were like, no, like where? I was like, you mean in a pool? They were like, oh, in a pool? I was like, what other options? What other options were there?
Now I'm already triggered.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Do you guys have time? Do you guys really have time?
I'm already triggered. Do
you guys have time? I have a question.
There's some shit.
Really, I was trying to give them a pass, but they really, asked me what water body did I learn how to swim in? Because I guess they didn't know Africa has swimming pools.
Okay, I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to make this a different episode real quick. Because
the funny thing is that when you have when you achieve greater heights, or like I said, someone was surprised that I actually went to, I had a first degree and then I had an MBA. They were like, oh, wow. It's impossible for you to have. They know that we were always on the trees. I don't know what it is, but the media was also helping because what the media shows, every time I'm watching some YouTube clip or something like that, there's this UNICEF ad that comes up. And when I see
Majida, give me a quick second. Let's not go too deep because I have a lot to say about the swimming, the triggering, and UNICEF, okay? Sure, all together. Sure. So viewers, y'all asked for too much and we're gonna give you a lot. So stay tuned for the third part of this conversation because we have a lot to say, okay?
Can do
on the Saturday show.